Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 17, Episode 18, The Reunion Part 2. Alright guys, this is it. This is Part 2 and the final part of the reunion for Season 17. We are beginning this episode with the same disclaimer that we got partway through last week's reunion, reminding us that this reunion was filmed 10 days prior to Shannon Storms Bedore's DUI arrest. I mean, honestly, it kind of makes these things that they're talking about all the more like crazy, knowing that just 10 days later, this happens to Shannon. Anyway, as I have done in the past, I'm seeing it for the first time as I'm filming this for you guys. And let's just get started. We start with Shannon saying, "Can I address the CPS thing again?" And Andy's like, "Sure." And she said, "Because I'm not being understood here. Number one, I apologize for saying it. I really do. But the second thing is, I never meant that your children would be taken away from you. That's not what I meant. It's that no adult was present." And Gina's like, "We have to be careful about our choice of words." And she's like, "I understand. Yeah, I do. I just want you to know what the intention was." And Gina goes, "I feel like you have not hurt me, but I feel like you have hurt my children." And Shannon goes, and I feel horrible about that." So then Andy says, "Let's take a break." And, the cameras don't stop rolling. And so we hear these little private conversations. And Heather's like, "Are you okay?" to Gina. She goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "You didn't back down. That was good. Did you feel better that you got it out?" And Gina's kind of crying. And she's like, "Heather, no, because there was no real apology. There never is." Cut over to Shannon. "Boy, it's really hot in here. Is it? Are you a little hot?" Woo. And Andy's like, a little bit, yeah." Oh, Shannon. Gina's really upset, though. And she's just like, "I have to let it go. Like, I cannot carry this around anymore." Heather's like, "Yeah, just, breathe it out." So then the show starts back up again. Andy, with her new at-home colonic, Shannon has no problem unblocking her friends. Oh, God. It's so weird because I always want things to be funny and fun. I don't know. Life is easier when you're laughing, but it feels wrong a little bit somehow to just be now laughing with Shannon about her colonic. I don't know. Okay, we're getting Shannon's package now, and the way it's being presented, it's everybody talking about Shannon's relationship. It almost makes it sound like Shannon was right about it all along, because we're seeing Heather's confessional where she goes, "He doesn't come over to her house. He doesn't," like listing the things off in her confessional. There's that. And then there's Emily talking about it to Tamara. It does kind of make it sound like everybody's talking about her relationship. Although, to be fair, we do also get Shannon ratting herself out. "Is there going to be enough money? His kid doesn't like me, but I can't talk about that on camera." No cameras. No cameras, of course. It's on camera. What we don't get is Tamara's hand in all of this, which doesn't feel fair. The way this was edited, maybe it'll come later. I hope. Anyway, that ends, and Shannon said, "Oh, I can't wait to dive into this." She's already blotting her eyes. Okay, Shannon, you still got it wrong, girl. She said, "I thought before filming started that John and I were getting very close to you, Heather, you and Terry, and we were forging a friendship." And then, I don't know, something about like I've talked to you less times than on one hand about my relationship not being good or something like that, or fights that she had. And you said I should bring it up on camera. And I said, I want my relationship to work. So Shannon's takeaway from this whole season is apparently that Heather was the only person she talked to about a relationship. And Heather was telling her that Gina was talking about it and Emily was talking about it. But you're the only one I talked to about it, Heather. And yet that's not true. Emily even said it, and she's probably about to say it again, that they had a big long conversation that Shannon doesn't remember because Shannon was drunk. Yeah, she does. Andy says, the other ladies have all said that you talked to them directly about it. And Emily goes, I had a long conversation with you about your relationship, Shannon. And then Andy kind of cuts off like some crosstalk and he said, Shannon, is there anything that Heather said on camera that Shannon goes, she said it all off camera. And Heather's like, I'm so manipulative. You told people off camera, Shannon and John's relationship, it's not good. But I can't say anything because it's in the vault. And when you say you can't tell you because it's in the vault, people are going to think the worst. And Heather goes, but you said on camera, and I said it back to you on camera. It was nothing bad like that. Andy goes, you said the arguments left you paralyzed. And she goes, yes, because what would happen was he would leave and he would ghost me. He would ghost me and I wouldn't speak to him for days. And it was paralyzing. He just sounds like an asshole. Like the worst. But in all this crying now, she says that she has never been more in love with anyone in her life than John Jansen, and that he has said he's ready to take the next step with her. And Andy goes, but if he wanted to take the next step with you, why did he break up with you? Tamara, because he was saying that for the camera. Gina, he was trying to get through filming so he didn't look bad. Shannon just said, he said it on camera, and a week later he broke up with me. So Heather goes, can I ask you a question? Do you really believe that I was this Machiavellian behind the scenes? I do, Heather. And Heather goes, please don't get mad at me, but you tend to drink and then call some of us. That's a fucked up thing to say to me, Heather. So this part is rough, knowing that 10 days later she got a DUI, drove into somebody's house with her dog in the car. She said, for you to say that I get so drunk, and for you to say I need rehab, and for you to paint this picture that I'm drunk every night, and you to say that I should have a breathalyzer on my phone. And Emily's like, you should. Shannon's going on and on. I haven't had an intimate conversation. And Gina goes, but you don't even want to look at that at all, Shannon. You don't want to think about that. You don't know anything about my intimate life. And Gina's like, if you don't want to share, what are you doing here on this show? Again, Shannon would like to reiterate that I don't like you, Gina. Finally, Emily's like, Shannon, you share things with people that you're on a reality show with on camera, and you act like you don't know how this works. Look, it's an assumption of risk. If you don't want any of us to talk about it and you don't want it to come out, Heather goes, don't tell us. Gina, and you can't fault us for talking about it because that's our job. That's our job. So now Andy says, here's what I don't understand, and I'm interested in this. It seems like you had private conversations with everyone here about your relationship, and it all got put on Heather by Tamara. Finally, Andy showed up. Thank you, Andy. Tamara wasn't even in the package you guys showed. So I don't know who she's got information on, but Tamara just starts to say that I heard it from Emily. Shannon's like, I had a conversation with Gina in March of 2020 about my relationship, and that's all I've ever said to her. I haven't had one since with her. And somebody said, I don't think Gina ever went after your relationship. And Gina goes, I know I never did. Shannon goes, well, I'm Gina, I apologize again. I was told that you did. And Gina goes, then why don't you like me? If all I ever did was nothing to you, then I don't understand it. Apparently, it goes back to when Gina first started the show, and she was going through her acrimonious divorce from David storms the door. Gina said that she masked her pain with alcohol. So did Gina. I mean, so what? And again, guys, 10 days before her DUI, Gina's like, that's our job. Our job is to talk about what we think, about what we're seeing. And then Shannon screams, my job is to be Shannon Storms Bador. Gina, well, good job, because you're badoring it up. This gets into a pissing contest about who was more authentic on camera as a housewife. Shannon seems to think that, she's gone above and beyond. I took my shirt off after gaining 42 pounds. I delved into infidelity. Whatever. Emily's like, we've all done stuff, Shannon. Gina got a DUI. Tamara weighed me on camera. I mean, we've all done things on this show. Shannon breaks down about John, and somebody said, are you with him or are you not with him? And she goes, of course I'm not with him. And Emily, I heard you say that I was. Of course I'm not. He broke up with me. And she's really crying because it sounds all kind of, snuffly and stuff. And she said, do I look back at certain scenes and think, oh, wow, how dumb were you? Because I can see the way he's looking at me that, of course, he's checked out. And it's embarrassing. And they're like, well, okay, everyone's all very sad and soft. And Tamara's like, you don't have to be embarrassed about it. And she's like, well, I feel like I have a good head on my shoulders, but I just I'm not really making fun of her being sad about that. I'm a little annoyed by all of it. If everybody is so angry with Jen for defending the town whore, then I have a right to be a little bit angry with the way Shannon always made it sound like there was no big deal. Nothing was really wrong with her relationship with John, because I feel like that was a big fat lie. So Andy's like, you've been hanging out a lot with him together recently. Are you back together? And she's like, no. He goes, you're posting with him on social media. Then we see a picture she posted, apparently. Now I think she's blaming her daughters. No, she just said that it's just that my kids said to me, because they're now all away at college, and it's been hard for her to be all alone at home. And she said, my kid said to me, Mom, if you can spend the night out to dinner with someone or just be alone. Almost like it's fine to go out to dinner with John rather than stay home alone. Tamara's like, but he's not the one. Yeah, go out with your girlfriends. I mean, all the ladies are telling her how wrong that is. They're like, I don't know if you can really move on if you're still hanging out with him and stuff. And if it's that you still kind of have feelings for him, then that's not good. There's a viewer question from Steven. If John is such a private person, why did he start dating you, a cast member on a reality TV show? And Shannon's like, Steven? That's a valid question. Tamara's like, what's the answer? And Gina goes, I think maybe he liked it at first until he got a little stung by it. And then Shannon's like, I didn't get that at first. When you guys would tell me when the cameras are on, he lights up. Viewer question, Shannon, why do you not understand that it's Tamara that is the root of all this discussion about your relationship? Why do you give her such a pass? Thank you, viewer. Tamara, I didn't say anything about her relationship this season. Then we get a flashback, finally, to Tamara and Eddie talking about Shannon's relationship. Tamara talking to Emily about it, Tamara talking about it in Montana. Yeah. So I guess Bravo was just saving it. I think it was Emily that goes, well, you did talk about it a little. So, the discussion gets to be like, why was Heather the scapegoat kind of thing? And Heather said, please take this in the spirit it's intended. I never told you that I wouldn't repeat anything you said. The things that you said that were very hurtful, I kept that to myself. I have never said those. I never did. And then I heard Emily say the things like that he said you were a pig and that you were fat. That was something that I was never going to say. And Emily goes, I didn't say pig. Oh, no. And Shannon goes, now that is one thing that John didn't do. And Emily goes, but you told me that, Shannon. Heather says the same thing. And she's saying to Heather, you mistook that. Heather and Emily both. How did we both mistake that? Good question. Andy brings up how uncomfortable she was to wear a bathing suit on the vacation. And he said, I think that's something that's so relatable for so many women, and everyone's nodding. Although I don't think any of those women can really relate. But they asked, was that, or no, I think Emily referred in one of her confessionals, referred to that being related to John Jansen, Shannon's being uncomfortable with her own body. And Shannon said, I just want to make it clear that is a Shannon thing. Has nothing to do with John Jansen. I think it was Tamara's like, are you sure you're not with him? You're sure you're not? And she's like, I'm not. And then Andy said, are you friends with benefits? Shannon, sometimes. And everyone's like, oh, Shannon. Just before we come back from the next break, Andy's phone buzzes and he picks it up and he's like, oh, it's from Vicky. And they're like, what? Someone had tweeted her a seating chart with Andy and then just like 6 Vickies in every other seat. Tamara's like, I think she's got a little FOMO. Okay, the next package is Emily's. And, we come back from that and it's got her crying already. And Andy said, it seems like a lot of your anger is rooted in your childhood. And she goes, yeah, it was really rough in my relationship with my mom. It was so bad, or was so bad. Oh, I guess maybe it's still bad. She said she talked to her on the phone the other day, which was the first time she talked to her since she had come out in December. She said that her relationship with her mom is just all over the place. There's no consistency. And Gina's like, and there's no solution for it. So that's hard. She talks a little bit now about Annabelle doing some more modeling. Then we talk about how Emily and Tamara have gotten close. Andy asks, how is your friendship now? And Emily said, I think we're close. We talk a lot. Tamara agrees and says, I adore her. That's new. Andy says, Shannon, you've had your issues with Emily all season. How do you feel about this new friendship with Tamara and Emily? And Tamara goes, she doesn't love it. Oh, no. This turns into, that Shannon, Tamara, and Vicky are doing the Tres Amigas show. They're taking that show on the road. And Shannon was nervous and afraid that cast members were going to come. Tamara wanted to invite everybody and thought everyone should be invited. But Tamara, told Emily that Shannon said Emily could not be invited. She did not want her there. So Shannon just looks over at Emily and goes, I was nervous. We were doing a live show. Tamara goes, why didn't you just say, I don't like you and I don't want you there? So now Shannon's like, no, stop putting words in my mouth. Shannon's just digging her grave. She's like, I didn't want certain cast members there. But I didn't want Gina there. And they're like, yeah, because you don't like her. You say that all the time. But and Heather goes, why wasn't I invited? So yeah, apparently, I don't even know who got to come because it wasn't Emily, Gina, or Heather. And I think Jen said she only came because Taylor told her about it or something. Was Taylor the only cast member invited? God. And also, really, ladies, did any of you really want to go? Be honest. There's a question now about why did Emily say that Heather wasn't really friends with Tamara? And Tamara goes, yeah, I heard that you're only friends with me because you're afraid of me. And Heather goes, I never said I was only friends with you because I'm afraid of you. I said I never go against you because I'm scared of you. Which I totally understand, by the way. I, too, would never go against Tamara. Emily goes, when Tamara came back on the show, Heather and I used to talk a lot about Tamara. And Heather said a lot of negative things about Tamara. Heather's like, that's not true. Emily goes, it is true. You said she was an asshole. Heather, she is an asshole. And Andy's like, ha, ha, ha. And then she says to Tamara, and I love you, but sometimes you're an asshole. And Tamara goes, but we just started. I hadn't even been an asshole yet. Heather and Emily kind of get into it. She's like, I think you think I'm malicious. And Heather said, not malicious, maybe aggressive. And she goes, well, I think it's passionate. And she's like, yeah, but you made like a spectacle at my event. But I mean, I guess good for me because it promoted the whole brand. Emily goes, yeah, I should be getting a thank you note on HD stationery. Heather's like, it was so mean. We get a little flashback and Tamara goes, but like, don't you find it funny at all? I mean, because it was. Jen goes, it was funny. Again, Emily tells her to have a sense of humor and Heather's like, it was just rude. Emily, well, calling someone a mammoth is rude. Heather, we had a full conversation about this. Were you upset that I called you a snuffleupagus? Of course I didn't mean it mean, and I said to you in a good way, it's a mammoth. Snuffleupagus is a mammoth. Heather said it's because you came out of the water and your hair was like all crazy like that. That's what made her say it. But it feels like that wasn't when she said it. I don't know. Heather's like, the thing, it's not all my fault. And Emily goes, well, here's the thing, Heather. I say you look like a whale trainer. And then I hear from other people that you think I'm an asshole and that I should be fired. And Heather goes, I never said you should be fired. She turns to Tamara. You said that she said I should be fired. Heather goes, that's not true. Tamara, well, you didn't like her and you didn't want her on the show. Heather, Tamara, that is a lie and you know it. And I'm going to remind you what happened. You were texting me hideous things about Emily and you went on Watch What Happens Live and you were like, you know who I love? I love Emily. Tamara goes, I said all last season that Emily was the breakout star. Heather goes, that's when it started. And Tamara's like, I'm not going to deny, I did not like this bitch. But we're in a good place now. Okay, now it's time for the lighthearted fun package. We get into the river raft guy's package. And how his balls were coming out of his shorts, or at least one of them. Fun fact, turns out that guy was a cousin of Shane, who works for Jeff Lewis. And when Tamara was on Jeff's podcast, they were talking about that. And Shane said, hey, my cousin filmed one of your shows. He was a river raft instructor or whatever, Kevin. And Tamara's like, oh my God, we saw his balls. And then also we get to talk about Shannon's bony vagina. Someone asked, maybe it was a viewer question, or maybe it was just Andy, what constitutes a bony vagina? Is that a self-diagnosis? And she said, it's just, like a Peloton bike is a little uncomfortable. I just need a little extra padding. So then Tamara wants to feel her bony vagina, and Shannon just sits back, opens her legs, lets him feel it. Can we go back to them fighting and being mean to each other? The next big package is about who said that Gina and, well, I guess really all the ladies were losers at BravoCon. Was it Shannon? Was it Tamara? And we get to once again see that Heather had played part of Tamara's podcast where she did, in fact, say it. It seems pretty cut and dried. Tamara's spin on that is that she was just repeating what Heather said. It doesn't make sense, not in the context of this podcast where Teddy Mellencamp said when they were leaving the party, Tamara said it. Tamara said it was an inside joke that only she and Shannon knew about. I don't know. I mean, in all fairness, it doesn't seem very hard to believe that Tamara or Heather called Gina and Emily losers. I could probably see really any one of the ladies calling any one of the other ladies a loser. And it's hardly the worst thing that they've called each other, right? All right, well, Tamara tells a story that sounds pretty believable right now. She said what happened was on Heather's podcast, she said every time she's asked, who do you think should come back on the show? She says Alexis Bellino. And then we hear it. She did say that. And Tamara goes, and then Heather said, well, you know, they're never going to bring her back. That's why I say that. And I said to Heather, well, but don't you want what's best for the show? And Heather said, well, what do you expect? I'm working with a bunch of losers. That sounds believable to me. But we haven't heard Heather's story yet because Heather goes, that's not what happened. And Tamara goes, that's exactly what happened. Heather, no. I was giving interviews when I came back last season, and I was like, the cast is great. We're really gelling. Everyone's terrific. And you were like, Heather, give me a break. And I go, well, what do you want me to say? This is what they gave me to work with. I didn't call anyone a loser. Tamara's like, bullshit. She swears she didn't. We do get a flashback to her saying, I called Noella a loser. Okay, to answer the question of where were they getting their hair and makeup done, they were in LA doing promo shots for the show. And it was Heather, Gina, and Emily in the room together getting their hair and makeup done. Gina was getting her hair blow dried, so Emily thinks that that's where she misheard what she said. But she said, blah, 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 was talking about you at BravoCon, and she said very bad things. And she did this with her hand because Emily specifically remembers the fingernail. Very bad things. And Emily said, what did she say? And Heather said, no. It's in the vault. This turns into a giant fight because Heather doesn't like that, she goes, well, first of all, I thought we were having a private conversation because you and Gina get to have private conversations. You say things and it never gets said on the air. But when I say something, and then Emily was like, oh, no. You're not going to turn this around like you're a victim. Poor Heather, poor Heather, poor Heather. There's a viewer question asking Heather, if you knew that Emily was really talking about what Tamara said and not Shannon, why didn't you correct her? And Heather said, I didn't know what she was talking about. And Emily goes, yes, you did. You took advantage of the fact that I fucked up the names and accidentally said Shannon and not Tamara to act like it was like I was crazy. So, of course, Tamara is now denying, or no, I guess she said, yeah, I said losers, but I was just repeating, I was making fun of what Heather had said. And then Andy looks to her and said, but you have said terrible things about all of your cast members when you were off of the show. And Tamara goes, but we're not talking about that, so fuck off. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, Andy, we're not talking about that terrible behavior. This is something new. But yeah, she's like, what's your point of mentioning that? And Andy goes, well, I was just pointing out that you were calling them losers. And she goes, oh, right. And because she said it, it's okay. And he goes, no. And she's like, okay, then be quiet. Tamara's actually now crying. Heather, this is what was said, and this is why I'm so upset. When we sat down together at that wine bar, after the pumpkin party, and then a couple of days later, you go and tell them Tamara said horrible things about you. What was your intention? Heather doesn't really have an answer. She just said, I stupidly said that. And as soon as I did, I was like, just... And then you went and ran with it. I understand why you were upset that I didn't tell you what it was, but I wish that you would have come to me. Somehow we're getting to a place again with Tamara crying. She misses her friendship with Heather. I love Heather. It's just, I had a really tough year and now she's crying and we're talking about what a tough year it's been for everybody. But then Tamara having to shut her gym down, how hard that was. She lost Bronx. She lost her dog who was 14 years old. That's, as we all know, that's devastating. And Tamara just says, I drank way too much and I'm an ass when I drink. Yeah, I guess it's just hard to stay mad at Tamara when she's honest like that. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how she gets away with stuff and that these women all still want to move forward with her and keep trying again. Because I promise you, if Heather and, Tamara both come back next season, Tamara's going to do something shitty to Heather again. Even though she's crying right now and she misses her, she sends a text for every Christmas, every anniversary, she's still going to do it again because that's Tamara's MO. That's Tamara's job. She has been cast as the villain. She's going to do it again. She certainly seems like she revels in it a little bit. She loves stirring the pot and causing dissension and stuff like that. So, yeah. She's going to do it again, and I have no doubt that the ladies will forgive her again and again and again and again. So we end with a nice comment from a viewer saying, I don't have a question. I just want to say this cast was perfection, and I'm really going to miss this season. So with that, Andy would like to go around the room and ask everyone what they will miss from the season, I guess. Emily's going to miss the fun because there really were a lot of fun, funny times. Yeah, like her at the HD party. Jen, it was her first season. So yeah, she said even after they wrapped, it was like, where is everybody? And, she missed everyone. So again, proving that they aren't really friends in real life, right? Because when the cameras are down, they don't see each other. They don't go on vacation together. I mean, maybe some of them do, but I guess Jen hasn't really seen anyone. Gina is the next one. She just said, there are things that you miss, but also there are things that you're just happy to move past, honestly. I can't imagine she loved the season. Shannon always misses the vacations because they're fun, but I said I wasn't going to cry again. But I miss filming with my kids. Okay. Sorry, fellow cast members. It's her daughters that she misses. When we get to Heather, she said, through the ups and downs, I really do love all of you women. And I know that if I called you or if you called me, we would be there for each other. And then Gina goes, that is so sweet. And I take that back. I will miss your house. And finally, Tamara, and she's like, okay, it's my turn. Well, not much, bitch. But I will say what I look forward to next season. If you have me back, I look forward to seeing Ryan in a different way. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm assuming it means she's on the dick pic list. There aren't that many ways to see Ryan, but she's only seen it limp. And then I will say no more about that. She does say that she just accepts Jen's happiness and that she will never go there again, which means nothing. I don't believe for a second that if she is still with him, that Tamara won't talk about him again. There will be something that comes up. Another woman from the gym who comes out of the woodwork and says, oh, well, I mean, he was with me too, or something, something. Maybe one of the recipients of the dick pic list will come forward. I don't know. So Andy's just like, I think all things considered, you guys really had a successful reunion here. And, you're all going out tonight together, right? Emily goes, where are we going? They're going to Heather's new house in Beverly Hills. So honestly, it didn't feel like Emily and Heather ended so well, but okay. Emily just said, I think it's like we just, there's a lot of pettiness, but we all really care about each other. And yeah, it's kind of a pressure cooker sometimes. He said, she said stuff, but I love Heather. And Heather says, I love you too. Shannon and Gina, however, I still don't like you, Gina. I don't like you. And we end with shots of tequila from Senor Noodles. So, Noodles? Noodles, can we put the table over there? And that is a wrap on season 17. Thank you so much for being here. I'm off next week, but I will be posting something. So just, watch out for that. Make sure you have that bell icon checked. And as usual, if you liked this recap, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and the bell icon will let you know when that new video comes up. And but yeah, the week after next is Beverly Hills. Yep, no Lisa Rinna. I don't know why I'm not on the show. I don't know what they're gonna do without me. Andy, why am I not on the show? But we still have the other regulars, so I am excited. I think there's a new person too. Yeah, that should be fun. Until then, I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.